Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I have some shapes here that I've cut out using my ScanNCut. We've got this circular frame and of course the waist, which is the circle in the middle. I've also got these that I've mounted onto some card bases, and I've got this circle, swirly circle here, as well as this heart. And all these shapes have something in common, and I wonder if you can guess what it is. So if you'll just go with me now to Canvas Workspace, I'll explain all. Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I have these shapes here that you see. I've got some that are on card bases already, and they have something in common, and I wonder if you could guess what it is. So if you pop over with me right now to Canvas Workspace, I'll explain. See these three shapes here, these decorative shapes? You've got the circle, heart, and then this frame here. They all started out as this. Each of those shapes, using basic shapes and process overlap and divide, created these new decorative pieces from this pattern. So if you would like to learn how that's done, then stick with me and I'll show you how. Here I have the shapes that I'll be working with. I've got this pattern here, this swirly pattern, as well as a couple of circles. And this larger circle, I want to form a frame for this. And to do that, I could either bring another circle in and then just resize it and align it. But the easiest way to create a frame would be to use the offset function, which is under Edit. It's here at the bottom. So offset. I'm going to make it inward, and I want it to be a fairly wide frame, so I'm going to go at 0.56, and I'll just leave the other circle in there, and now I have a frame. Well, the way you and I see it, we have a circle and we have a circle frame, but Canvas Workspace, and indeed the machine, sees this as three separate shapes, three circles. It sees this one, as you can see from the bounding box that's highlighted there. That's one shape. For this, though, it sees two shapes. So it has the outer circle and then the one that's sitting on top. So at this point, this is what we call a non-compound path shape. So we need to make it a compound shape so that we can get this to take on the pattern here. And I'll show you how we'll do that in just a moment. But the first thing we need to do is to, of course, complete this as a compound path shape. So what we'll do is go to Process Overlap, and with that still highlighted, click on Divide. Right. And now, center of that has been punched out, which we can just delete. And if I put some fill in here for you, you'll see that that is a circular frame. And this is still a solid circle. So now Canvas Workspace will recognize this as only two shapes now. The solid circle and the frame circle. So what I'll do is I'm going to highlight those and align them to the center the middle, and I'll just group them and place them to the side for the moment. I'll bring in my pattern. Now this pattern, as it happens, is also a closed path shape. And test this to see if it is already a compound path shape by highlighting it and then going to Process, Overlap and Divide and clicking on it, and you'll see that nothing changes. So that means it's already divided. So it's already in the form that we need. So I'll bring in the two circles that I have here, one being the frame and the other being the solid circle. And you can see it's actually going behind, which is really where we want it. We want those behind this shape. So if, depending on what you've been working on your mat, if that is still on top, then you need to move it to the back. So let's highlight these and we'll align them. Okay. And now, with everything still highlighted, you have, I'll just zoom in here for you, we still have this bounding box for the frame, and you have the, well, this is the frame with the circle inside of it, so you've got that bounding box, and then you've got the outer bounding box, which is for the pattern there. And now you want to go back to Process, Overlap and remove any overlap. It may take it a little bit of time to process this because it has to read this file here and make sure that there aren't any open paths or any intersecting lines, anything to keep it from processing. Now we can take and grab that. We see here we still have that original pattern. It's still in the very same form. Just pull it off to the side. But now you see what you're left with are the frame, the circular frame, and then the centerpiece. However, if you were to cut this out of your cardstock right now, what you would have is just these pieces would be embedded into the cardstock. So you would not have an actual circle being cut out. You have to place cutting files or cutting lines around these shapes in order to do that. Also, if I zoom in, I can see here that I have some tiny little shapes which could cause me some headache. So what I'm going to do is just highlight those. So I've exposed the nodes and I can use the path editing tool to get rid of those. So we're just doing a bit of a tidy up. And we can use rid of that one as well. Editing tools. Let's see. You can see there's another problem, so we'll get rid of that. And now by taking time to just tidy that up, we've spared ourselves a little bit of problem with the blade perhaps jumping around or even snapping. So again, this is still going to cut through into the card. So what I would need to do is to bring in a circle that I can place on the outside to give that a cutting line. And let's see what the size is on this. So that is, we'll resize this circle here. Just a little bit like that. Then we can highlight both of these and align them. Right, so we've got that. Now, if we were to cut this out, this means the circle would be cut out. And, of course, these pieces would be cut through as well. So they'll be embedded. But then this is also going to be a solid circle behind, or still here. So if I were to highlight that, you'll see by filling that. Send that to the back. You'll see this will, all these little shapes will be cut out, and you'll still have this solid piece here. So if you want this to be a frame instead, that means you need to bring in a circle and place it in the middle here. And let's just see what we have so far. That's not too bad. Right, so now it's going to cut this as a circle. It's going to cut this out. And you can just leave it like that, or if you want to just complete it, you can highlight all this and divide it. And then you'll see exactly how it's going to cut out. So you'll have your waist there. We just move this. There's our shape. That's what we're going to be left with. So we can get rid of all that. Right. So we have a frame that started out just as a couple of circles, but now, because we've punched it through this pattern, we've created something completely new. We also have this piece, which was the center circle, and again we need to complete that by bringing in another shape. We can bring in a circle. We could maybe even bring in, let's say, a scallop. We'll highlight that and align it. And then what I can do is I'll go ahead and divide it. We can get rid of the waist, and then we can, if I give that some fill, we can see again what we have. And if I want, I can always go in and remove these two little bits here. I don't think there'll be too much of a problem, but I think I will go ahead and remove those. Okay, that should do it. And that is the shape that we now have. If I just zoom back out of this, you can see now that we have two completely new shapes which have been formed from this pattern. And I can still use this for another pattern, which I think I'm going to just go in here and select a heart. Right. And I'm going to duplicate that because I'm going to need a cutting edge as well. So I'll just give that some fill. And let's see. I can have this anywhere I want it. I could put it right in the middle. I could have it off to the side, whatever I like. Let's try this. And now we need to send the heart to the back, remember? It needs to go to the back. So we're going to send it behind the shape that we want to punch through. Center back. And now we can highlight both of those, this outer frame and the heart itself, and use the process overlap of remove the overlap. So that's going to take all this out, and it's just going to leave what's in the middle of that, or what's in that heart. So I can move that again, and we're left with this. And again, that is not going to cut a heart shape, it's just going to cut all these little bits here. So I need to give it a piece like that. So we've got a new cutting line, so let's line that up like that. And then we can also divide that. We can get rid of this waste. And then take a look at this. And we can tidy any of these pieces, like these here. Just open the path editing. Those are highlighted, so I can just remove those points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the time to go around and tidy this up, and after I do that, I'll send it over to the machine, and then we can have a look at what we can do with these new shapes.
I've cut out all the pieces, and what I did is when I got to the machine I resized these so that I could get these onto one 12 by 12 sheet with some leftover space, and so that I also could incorporate a couple of these into cards. So we've got here our circular frame, and of course this was the center that was cut out, so we still have that for a project. We have what was the smallest circle. It looks like this now, and then our heart. So I'm going to put these onto cards, I think these two, at least, and I may save this for something else later on. So what I've done is just make up a couple of card blanks and put a layer on them. I haven't really decorated them, just made the cutouts that we made. The heart, as you see here, and I've just cut another heart just to place behind that. And then our circle. And of course we still have this that we can use for something else. So there are the 3 pieces that we were able to make from just that one swirly frame. I hope you enjoyed this and that you learned a little more about the possibilities that you have with your ScanNCut and of course with Canvas Workspace. So you can take a frame die or a frame cutting file that was made for one purpose and turn it into all these other different shapes that you could then put as toppers or other embellishments for your other paper crafting projects. I'd like to thank all my subscribers once again for your support, and if you aren't already subscribed to the channel, then I'd invite you to do so today. Please be sure to share this video with your friends, especially those who are the owners of a ScanNCut and are interested in learning more about Canvas Workspace. I do enjoy doing those videos. I learn a lot each and every time I make one. And now, until we meet again, please stay safe and crafty hugs. Bye.